Sean, if you were going to sum up that game for somebody who didn't see the Chiefs beating the Texans, how would you describe it?
Have you seen Scream 7 with Tara Reid and Groundhog Day? That's the Texans' approach. Dan, I would sum it up as this. If you've watched the Texans play all year long, it's exactly who they are. They play a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half. They can't handle success. They'll handle adversity pretty decent, but they can't handle success, and that's been a problem. This has been their M.O. Some spectacular, some decent, and a whole bunch of ugly, and they just don't handle success very well. And Bill O'Brien, there's a choke factor that goes into players at times, and then there's that factor, Dan, you know those guys. I'm the type of guy who'd throw it to the other team in the playoffs. You get the Mahomes or the Rodgers or the Wilsons who they just kind of raise their game. The Houston Texans and Bill O'Brien coaching staffs choke too. It's not just players. They got to do a lot of self-evaluation. This was a bad loss. The problem is a lot of mental errors, and aggressiveness is one thing, stupidity is another, and the Houston Texans approach from second quarter on with a lot of stupidity and a lot of unsound football.
If you owned that team, what would you do today?
I would evaluate the coaching position as hard as I did evaluating whether I should buy the franchise or not. And you think about players, Dan, I've been in, we all are. What are the coaches doing this week once this is over? All the coaches are evaluating each player on their team hard. Is this guy worth another contract? Can he help our team going forward? Should we cut him? Who's checking the coaching staff? Well, Eric Bieniemy would have had a call by me at about in the middle of the third quarter from the owner's box. I would have called him and said, dude, can you get on a flight from your sideline right now? Do you got a text message? I'd have brought him in. Listen, Bill's a good coach and a heck of a guy. But, Dan, we talk about ceilings, who can break through. Yeah. Let's think about some of the great coaches. Ron Rivera did a great job in Carolina, but the speech gets old, and Ron will do great in Washington. Mike McCarthy, great job in Green Bay. Time to move on. Bill Cowher, Hall of Famer. In Pittsburgh, sometimes the speech gets old, and then guess what? They go on to other success or other coaching, and they'll be successful. It's 6 years. I know it's 4 division championships. Well, what are you willing to settle for? You want to settle for just getting there? Is that good enough? Is that what you want? Or do you want to be the team that, cuts your heart out and feeds it to you? I would evaluate the position. I like Bill O'Brien. He's good. But his head's hit the ceiling and he can't break through. This team, in order to get to February, needs a February coach. Unfortunately, they got a January coach.
What stood out with the Chiefs, there's a couple of things. First of all, it didn't bother me that the Texans went for the field goal to go up 24-0. Because there's no guarantee you score a touchdown there. But, all right, if you want to be more aggressive, I know you got to score touchdowns to beat Kansas City. But you're up 24-0. I didn't know the defense was going to be just a rumor for the Texans. And then the other thing with the fake punt, if you're not going to be aggressive in the red zone, and then don't be aggressive when it comes for a fake punt. That's what I didn't understand there. It didn't fit. Like the Ravens always go for it on 4th and 1. We're not surprised at any of that. You're conservative at one end, and then, it's a catastrophe at the other. I just didn't understand that dichotomy.
Yeah, and Dan, think about it. I'm not the quarterback for the Chiefs. Mahomes is. You're going to give him the short field?
Yeah.
And Bill said, well, we thought it was going to take 50 points. Well, then you shouldn't have kicked the field goal. And I'm with you. I was actually watching. I said, kick it, take these points. Dan, look how tough points are to come by in the playoffs. Hell, it's tough enough during the regular season. You think 24, if I get to 30, man, I should be in good shape. And 51. But I agree with you. And then aggressiveness is one thing. The sound football is another. So you do it, but they didn't even put a body on Sorensen. It's almost like if we're going to be aggressive, backed up, punt the ball, make them go 90 yards, because now it's 24-14 and the momentum's definitely switched. But at least if you're going to be aggressive, be aggressively sound. Dan, that'd be like me at the 20-yard line, and it's 4th and 1, and we're down 5. And they got a strong safety blitz on our right side of our offense, and we're running a single back toss sweep into it, and the best strong safety in the league, Polamalu's coming up to get you in the backfield. That's maybe aggressive, but it's not sound football. It was almost as if, and you're exactly right, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. We want to be aggressive, but we're kicking a field goal, yet we're backed up. That's been the problem with them, Dan. It's just there's no rhyme or reason, and their identity should be number 4. You know what their identity is? The consistent inconsistency. It's a hard watch, and people here are going crazy over it naturally and should. But when you jump out 24-0, if you can't handle that success, then changes need to be made, and you got to look long and hard. And if you're going to keep him there, the leash has to be about one chain link.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.